Are you thinking of living in Andover, Massachusetts? In this video, we're going to explore what it's like in Andover. What draws people to Andover? How are the schools? What's it like commuting in and out of Andover? And what's it like once you're there? We're going to answer all these and more. Let's go to Andover. Hi, I'm Jeff. I started Boston North because I've lived my entire life in Massachusetts. In the last 20 plus years, I've lived in the North Shore. Working in the real estate industry, I've had to research the ins and outs of cities, towns, and neighborhoods in my area. My goal is to make you, my viewer, feel welcome to reach out to me with any questions you might have about living north of Boston. I'll talk to you soon. Andover, Mass. Is 25 miles north of the city of Boston, essentially straight up Route 93. So if you're driving there from the city of Boston with no traffic, you're looking at about a half an hour drive on if everything's perfect. It could be well over an hour. You get accidents, you got to cross 95 to get up there. But it is a pretty straight, pretty simple drive. The town of Andover is 32 square miles, and the population in the 2020 census is 36,000 people. The overall sort of feel of Andover, it's a very rural, it's a very quiet town. There's a lot of more neighborhood vibe than a bustling, sort of downtown city feel to it. So getting in and out of Andover, if commuting is going to be important to you living there, the two major roads that cut right through it are Route 495 and then Route 93. So 495 loops around. It's the outer belt of Boston. Let me just zoom out. So 495 loops all the way around Boston from New Hampshire all the way down to Cape Cod. And then 93 goes north and south. That'll take you to Route 95. If you wanted to cut across 495, you can go up into the Maine coast. Up 93 takes you into the New Hampshire lakes and White Mountains region. And 495 or 95 will bring you down to the Mass Pike, Interstate 90. And that's your access sort of out of state and out of New England. But Andover itself, for commuting wise, you're probably looking at 495 or 93 for your main routes. So smaller routes inside Andover that'll get you there. You've got Route 28, which is Main Street. That goes right through downtown Andover, goes all the way down into Boston, all the way up to the New Hampshire border. You've got Route 114. That's going to come from the Peabody-Salem area and cut right up through North Andover, kind of just touching Andover. That'll get you off into the Cape Ann direction. For exits onto 93, you've got Route 133 cuts right through the middle of Andover. You've got Route 125, comes a little south of that. Dascombe Road also has its own exit. So most of the neighborhoods in Andover are going to have very, very easy highway access, which is a huge advantage to somebody who's got to commute on their day. The convenience of that is really noticeable. There's a lot of commerce and there's a lot of businesses that do have a footprint in Andover or in the Andover area. There's a lot of tech companies up and down 495. So you may have a much shorter commute than going to Boston, but if you want to get to an airport, you're going to be looking at Manchester, New Hampshire, or Boston Logan International. So you're going to want to plan your drive for that. Once you get into the town of Andover, it's a very charming, quaint, small town. There's a couple neighborhoods to know about. They're not broken up, too distinctly. Shawsheen Village is a small, very historic village with some mill buildings and stuff. Right just north of downtown Andover. Downtown Andover itself is right here, the city center. That's where most of the restaurants are. That's where you go get your coffee, and it's a beautiful area to just take a walk. Ballardvale is another village within Andover that borders Tewksbury and North Reading. That's a mix of residential with some commercial businesses, but it's more of a rural feel than even the downtown Andover area. Andover Country Club is a very large development community. The homes are manicured. They're all pretty large. The landscaping's beautiful, and property values are really high in there. Excellent walkability. The sidewalks, everything's super consistent, cutting around as well as through the country club itself. So there is no North Andover because that's separated into a separate town in 1854. Voting was approved and it became a separate town in 1855. So North Andover itself is a separate community. South Andover, down here near the South Elementary School, much more of a suburban feel and gets you into a little bit closer to North Reading, and again, near Tewksbury, sort of the Ballardville area. Indian Ridge is a reservation as well as a golf course right here. That's another neighborhood that you might be interested in, or just an area to be aware of. Over here is the Harold Parker State Forest, which takes up some of Andover, some of Middleton, and that's got a lot of very secluded feeling streets and homes in it. So if less traffic and less noise is sort of in the cards for you, this little corner of town might feel like a better place to be. Getting around downtown Andover, getting around Andover itself is really easy. It's not overrun. The population to the size is pretty low ratio. So you're going to find it's like enjoyable to take a drive through town. You're not going to have many traffic jams unless it's a school getting out or a school bus or something like that. But it's all very, very tolerable. Speaking of home ownership, property taxes in Andover are $12.88 per $1,000 of value. So the tax rate itself isn't terribly high for eastern New England or eastern Massachusetts. However, home values are very high in Andover. It's a very desirable community. It's got an excellent school system, and that drives the prices of homes up. So you'll see the median home value when you're searching online is, for a 4 or 5 bedroom home is a little bit higher than some of the other areas. But with that comes some really great amenities that are important to a lot of people, and that's part of what makes Andover great. We do have public transportation going through Andover, the Haverhill train line, as well as some bus lines. But you can see here there's the Ballardvale stop and then the Andover stop. Ballardvale in the village, and then Andover right at the downtown intersection, and then the train line continues up into Lawrence and Haverhill. That's going to take you straight into North Station in Boston, and that'll be an easy commute. Again, if Boston every day is on the list for you, you certainly want to consider taking the train. Other local things of importance, shopping centers are not directly in downtown Andover. You're going to have to take a little drive. There's a Whole Foods, there's grocery stores in every direction. Southern New Hampshire, you have tax-free malls in Salem, New Hampshire. The North Shore Mall is down in Peabody. And then you can get in and out. You can access any store, any of the bigger box stores that you need within, say, 20 minutes in the town of Andover. So your access to things you need are sort of at your fingertips without too much of a drive. All right, school systems in Andover, as I mentioned earlier, they're pretty highly ranked in the state of Massachusetts. Currently, niche.com has them ranked at the 26th out of 217 school systems in the state of Massachusetts. There are 10 schools. There's a high school, 3 middle schools, 5 elementary schools, and then 1 preschool in Andover, and they're all spread out across the town. So again, it might geographically be a little far, but driving-wise, you're never going to have trouble getting to and from schools or anything like that. There is Merrimack College, which is technically in North Andover, but right against the border of Andover, and the Mass School of Law is in Andover as well. Education-wise, everything's close, and then if you're commuting to a college that's nearby, it's again not going to be terribly difficult. The city government has a town manager as well as a board of selectmen rather than a mayor. And then other things to note, if you needed to go to a hospital, Lawrence General is just over the border north of Andover and Lawrence, and that's going to be a real easy run for you to get to there. And then, Boston Healthcare and everything is readily available. If you want to go to the beaches in the summer, you got a lot of options. Andover itself has like a few ponds that have swimming set up, and that's going to be a convenience for you. And then a quick run down 114 to 128, you could get into Gloucester, or up 495 to 95, and you could be in the North Shore Seacoast or the New Hampshire Seacoast, or get up into Maine. So as far as access to things, again, Andover feels fairly removed. It's a very quiet town, but once you're off onto the road, you're on 2 of the major highways for the state of Massachusetts immediately within the town of Andover. So you can get to the New Hampshire Seacoast in like 25 minutes, right up 495. So anything you need to do is pretty at hand, but the town itself is really a pretty mellow spot. So if you have any questions about Andover, if you have any questions about living anywhere in eastern New England, really, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, give me a phone call with the information below, and I'd love to talk to you about it. Make any connections I can or answer any questions. More than happy to field your call or your question, and hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching.